I'd like to thank Iqbal for inviting me. He sent me an email saying we're celebrating 25 years of these awards, and we'd like to have a presentation from one of the early winners, which I've now realized just means I'm old. So I'd like to talk a little about Eden Project, which, as you say, won the award in 2001. In 1998, I'd like to stress I was a very, very young architect, and faced with this incredible, really amazing challenge of taking the site that you can see on the left, which was a China clay quarry, and being one of the team that would transform that site into something that looked very different and behaved very differently. We were working even at the very early stages with industry, with contractors, specialist fabricators, to think through how we could make this structure as minimal as it could possibly be, partly driven by the functional needs of the plants that were going to grow inside it, because the last thing they need is lots of heavy structure above them. What they need is light coming down, especially if they're tropical plants, they need a lot of it. But also in terms of minimizing material from a sustainability point of view. So the selection was steel for strength, but it was also a selection for a kind of space frame type of structure, so that we could make it the least weight possible. We ended up with biomes that cover a ground area of 22,000 square meters and a total steel weight of about 700 tons, which I can assure you is extremely light, and all of that steel galvanized. So the real pursuit we had here was we wanted the minimum amount possible. So sorry to the Galvanizers Association, but we were trying to reduce. But actually galvanizing was the way that we were able to do that. In '99, a few of my snapshots. All of the steelwork was manufactured in Germany. It all arrived in wooden packing crates. What you're seeing there on the top left-hand corner are some of the nodes that join the steel tubes together. Every single one of them unique with its own number, because the geometry, because we had 3D modeling. We were in the relatively early days of it then, but it did allow us to optimize the steel structure still further, and that meant every tube was unique and every node was unique. And there are a series of arches there that join these very large domes together. So you see it coming out of the ground there, with what won this, the proudest moment was 2 Guinness World Records for scaffolding. And what you're seeing there is March 2001, where, and literally is opening day, the picture on the left, where there weren't actually very many plants inside there, but the water misting sprays gave a very nice, filled the gaps in really well. But it was incredibly dramatic even then. I mean, these are big spaces, and we held on to the fact that the biggest biome, what's now called the rainforest biome, we really had to make sure that had this kind of drama and impact. And on the right-hand side, you get an idea of the finished sort of external envelope appearance. And I'm still involved with the organization very closely as we try to move it forward. And the next few slides are actually slides that we use in some of the work we do right now, where we're going around the world and trying to explain to people what this Eden project is and what other Eden projects could be. So this is a slide which just gives a sort of general explanation of what the place is. And so one of the things that the Eden Project as an organization is telling people around the world is it's possible to make these transformations happen and for them to be sustainable businesses moving forward. And so they've been operating for about 19 years. Over that time, they've had 21 million visitors. They've got a core staff of about 375, and that's a good business in Cornwall. Over the years, expansion has happened, so the total project cost now is running at about 141 million. But much more important is the figure in the bottom right-hand corner, which is that it's contributed well over £2 billion to the Cornish economy that simply would not have been there had Eden Project never existed. So as an economic regeneration machine, it's really, really important. And it's won acclaim over the years, the eighth wonder of the world, apparently, etc., etc. But obviously, in this room, the most important one being at the bottom right-hand corner, the Architecture Award winner from the Galvanizers Association. And since then, we've gone on and responded to growth in that particular site. We built an office building for Eden Project, which was largely from glulam construction, again, minimizing embodied carbon. In 2006, we built an education center, again, using largely a glulam structure, and that's been an incredibly successful building over the years. And then we've built up this sort of offer to the world, which is a sort of joint Eden Project and Grimshaw offer, which is about creating new Eden projects elsewhere. And we have a project in Qingdao in China, which is reasonably well advanced. The site is there. They've been doing some preparation work on the site, and we have a kind of we've developed it up to schematic design stage, and we're just about to launch into sort of detailed design and construction design on this one, with a view to getting this on site. And here in Qingdao, whereas in Cornwall the main theme was about the connection between people and plants, here in Qingdao the principal theme is around water and the importance of water to the natural environment, but also human dependence on water and clean water. So there's a lot of stories and content around water on this project. And then a little closer to home, but one that we've been developing just recently is up in the northwest of England on Morecambe Bay, which is an absolutely stunning sort of natural site, and a really beautiful and incredibly little sort of sensitive ecological site, but also a town which used to be a very successful seaside resort and frankly has seen better days. So what we're trying to do here with an Eden Project is pick up on themes of health and well-being, which Morecambe used to be very famous for, and help the town transform into a much more successful destination through having an Eden Project right on the seafront. And then finally, just beyond the work directly for Eden Project, some of the concepts that we developed for Eden Project in Cornwall 20 or so years ago, for me, resonate and have further application. And we're involved in a very different project at the moment, if it moves, which is about the expansion of Heathrow Airport, where there's a need for new terminal buildings and all sorts of other facilities. And the way I look at these buildings is, you know, an Eden Project biomes are about creating really nice internal environments that yet plants will grow in, but particularly in the Mediterranean biome is a very, very pleasant place for people to be and for a transient population of people to move through. And then I look at airport terminal buildings and I think, why do they need to be any different to that? Why can't we have plants growing in them, big trees, but also for them to be a really, really fantastic and pleasant place to walk through? So we're developing terminal building designs, an image of which is here, which picks up on the same types of material considerations. It's all about minimizing the amount of material in the structure, making the lightest weight structure that we possibly can, allowing huge amounts of natural daylight into the space, being able to grow plants in there, and have an incredibly low embodied carbon and a carbon in use approach to the buildings. So the thinking goes on. Hopefully the applications will continue. I'd like to thank the Galvanizers Association for spurring me on, and I'm looking forward to the awards. Thank you.